Hi, and welcome to Roofing for Profits. Today, we're going to talk about our gross profits estimates versus actuals template, and we're going to walk through it and sort of show you how it all works. So a couple of reminders. One, if you do not already have a Gmail account, I highly recommend it so that you can work through these sheets. If you need to, we can also send you an Excel sheet. But the beautiful thing about the Gmail account is we can share these from one person to the other within our business. We can have this go straight to our bookkeeper, whatever we need, and it's very easy to do via Google Drive. So once you have a Google Drive account and you click on the link that we have provided you, it will open up to this screen, and you can see here I'm in our Roof to Profits Gmail account. Second thing that you always want to do whenever you open up one of these templates is you want to copy and save it as a new form. So here we are. We're going to go to File on the left here, make a copy, and we're going to name this where our project is. So this is 123 Summers Drive. Okay, so that we know what we are actually doing the estimate for and then what our actual on that project is going to be. And click Make a Copy. Once you've done that, you'll have your original copy and you'll have your new copy. You only want to change your new copy. That way you can always go back to your original copy and make multiple copies of that. So always remembering that we only want to change anything in the green highlighted cells. If you change outside of those, you're going to mess up some formulas. So stick to the green cells and this will be easy peasy. We're going to start with our client name and we're saying this is Sally Sue's project. And our foreman here is Bobby. Okay. We're going to just work our way from the top down to the bottom. Right here, we have a labor multiplier. So this is going to be if you think there's a chance you're going to end up needing more labor than you are predicting. This sort of helps give us an idea of what our range will be. So in this case, I'm going to put 20%. There's a chance that I'm going to need 20% more hours than I have predicted. And right here, our labor burden is going to be anything that you want to include that you are paying for within labor, like workers' comp. At this point, I've got 40% in here, but I want to change that. So I'm going to click on this box and come up here, and I'm going to change this 40% to 10% of a labor burden. That is going to be completely up to you. You can also put it in as 0. Maybe you hire a crew and they have their own workers' comp insurance, so you do not have a labor burden. So here we are with labor burden at 0. My materials multiplier. So at the bottom of this page, you'll see that I have the predicted amount of materials that we're going to spend on. Here's my materials multiplier. This is going to be, say that you have a roof that is a re-roof and you are not sure about how many sheets that you're going to need to replace. Maybe some of them are okay and still usable, and maybe some of your plywood sheets you're going to have to replace. So I'm going to put 20%. All right. Don't worry about this number right here quite yet. This will come into play later, but you want to at least put those in. Your daily overhead is going to be what it costs you to keep your doors open, your light bill, your phone bill, everything that you have to pay for to run your business. This has nothing to do with the materials on the actual job, but it's a good number to put in there so that you can really see how much money you're going to make on this job. We're going to come up with this $1,000 and we'll probably change this, but basically you take your 30 to 31 days of the month and you take all of those basic overhead bills and you divide it by 30 or 31. Let's say this is a smaller business, and so their overhead, daily overhead is $500. Here we are. We're going to keep moving down. Sally Sue's job is a re-roof and it's going to cost us $10,000. Or we're going to bill her $10,000. That is the sale price of the contract. So you put in $10,000. Do not change any of these numbers that follow. Crew leader management fee. So if you have a management fee for a project lead or anything like that, you can put a number in here. Today, we're going to say we don't have that. It's a 0. So we're going to put in 0. All right. We are going to keep on moving down. We're going to come down here to our total estimated labor costs. Well, Jim is probably going to work, we're going to put 10 hours and his pay rate's $25. Remember this burden, we put 0 as the burden, but just so that you can see, maybe you want to change that labor burden to 10%. Your burdens right here are going to change. That's how much money that you're putting out towards workers' comp and other labor burdens. So we'll leave that at that 20%. Tony is going to work he's going to work 10 hours, the same amount as Jim, but he makes $20 an hour. He's a little less experienced, and Jim is sort of showing him the ropes. Then you have Sal, he's cleanup crew. He's probably going to work a few more hours, but he gets paid $15 an hour. Let's keep moving on down. We have overtime. Now, in this case, we are not in an overtime place, but if we were, we would just put in, he worked 2 hours overtime, and that overtime is 1.5 times. So you would put in whatever number would equal 1.5 times its pay rate, or whatever your overtime is for your state. In this case, we're going to keep it at 0 since this is not an overtime job. And then we have our total estimated labor cost is $676.50. Continue moving down. We now have our total estimated materials and others cost. If you'll notice, this space right here is not green. It will change depending on your overhead. We're going to say that this job takes us 2 days. If we changed it to 1, the number all the way total cost will change to 500, but it's 2 days, so it's 1,000. Now I said we were going to go back. Here's your daily overhead, and that is what is going to match right here, okay? If that daily overhead were to change, scroll back up to 1,000. Now scroll back down, that number will change here as well. We're going to go ahead and put that back at 500 because this is a smaller job, a smaller company, excuse me. And now we have our total estimated materials and others. That includes our dump fees. If you had to rent, maybe you had to rent some more nail guns, maybe you had a couple that broke, maybe you're paying a contractor's fee, whatever those estimated materials, permits, other costs are. Okay. Going back up to the page, now we can sort of see right here how all of it comes together. Our sales price, our estimated man hours, those automatically populate. Our estimated materials and other things, again, automatically populates. Our hourly sales rate, basically, it's the division of our sales price and how many hours we are working. Our projected gross profit on this project is $5,490 with a projected gross profit of 54.9%. All of these numbers will now come over here to our second section and be affected on our actuals. As we finish up the job, we'll come to the right side of this page and we will put in our sales price. And we did sell it for $10,000. Our actual man hours, let's go down here. We need to put those in. So Jim actually, this project only took us a day. Jim spent 7 hours on the job at $25. Tony spent 6 hours on the job, but that was at $20. And Sal spent 6 hours, and that was at $15. Our burden is still the same. And then we didn't have any overtime. Obviously, we were a little less on our hours. So then we have our actual cost of labor, $423.50. And we come back up here and we can see that it's a total of 19 hours. There we are, right here, 19 hours. Now we go down to labor and material. All of our materials stayed exactly the same. We did have a dump fee and we did have to rent a few tools, which kind of took some money out of our pocket. Overhead, none of that changes. We only had 1 day, okay? Instead of 2, we had the 1 day. Over on the left side of the screen here, we did put in 2 days, but now we're going to change that to the 1 day. Scrolling back up, all of those numbers auto-populate. So our actual gross profit was $5,843, with our actual gross profit percent being 58.43%. So if you look here, you can see the difference of what our estimated versus actual was. And I actually have over here as a side note that it was 13 hours less, $100 less in materials, Our sales rate was a little bit less, and our our sales rate was a little bit more, and our gross profit was a little bit more. And it was actually 3.53% more than what we had predicted. So this job actually cost you $4,157.50. All right, so now that you can kind of see how this is set up, it is super simple and super easy. Again, reminder, only change the numbers in green. So again, here we are. We have just gone through all of our estimated and our actuals. So the estimated you would have put in before the job, and the actuals, what you're going to put in after the job once you've got all of your receipts and documents together and your hours. And now you know how you're doing on job costing. All right, that is about it. And if you have any questions, as always, please feel free to email or call us and let us know what we can help you with today. Thanks so much and have a wonderful afternoon.